Hello, everybody. I'm just messing with my system here and trying to figure out what I'm doing still. Okay, so sorry about that. Sorry I had to change the time today. I had some issues with my computer, but we're all good now. So hopefully everything will hold steady while we're on. I'll kind of go as long as, whatever, as long as anybody's here or whatever we're doing. So, I just wanted to jump on and answer some questions if you have any. And it's just me today. So I thought it would be nice to just kind of have a week where we could just answer some questions. If you have any questions for my guides or for me for about spiritual stuff, if I can help. I've had this weird thing that I just wanted to touch on real quick. Where I'm having these kind of almost like mini, and maybe they're having these too, I don't know, almost like mini, like dark nights of the soul. They're just like really, they're not usually last a day or two. And it's usually something that like, oh, I thought this thing was this way, but it's not. And it kind of like rocks my equilibrium. And it can be little things. It can be kind of like, watching a channel and thinking this person thought this way, but they really think this way. And it's like, oh, that's weird. And it kind of like, it doesn't make me depressed, or it's not like a real dark night of the soul, but it feels a little bit like it kind of rocks me a little bit. And I've had like more personal things happen where I've had a disappointment, somebody disappointed me or something happened, and where I'm just like, oh, do I really know this person? Do I really, whatever. And it kind of rocks me a little bit. And what I found that helps, if this does happen to you or if it's happening to you, is I become present. And this is over time that I figured this out. This isn't right away. I become present. So I kind of get my equilibrium and that everything's fine. Everything's okay. So get present and just kind of be present in the now. Get out of my head, because that's where all the stuff happens in my head. Get in the now, and then ask the question from Course in Miracles. Help me to see this differently. Help me to take this in differently so that I understand it more, or it helps me understand myself better. And it's helped. It's really helped. But I also think, it's just life. Life knocks you around day to day. And part of it is not so much how we may be living or we may be thinking. We come across people all the time that are unconscious and they're living in a different way and they make decisions. And we're constantly in this sway of the people around us and our own self. And that's why it's really helpful to get clear in your own head and in your own space, because you're going to have ups and downs. That's just life. But you can always have peace, and there can always be that underlying of like, everything's okay. I know I'm here temporarily, and I know that I'm a spirit having a human experience. And so everything ultimately is okay. This is just hard right now, or this is just happening right now. There's also this other term that maybe I'm late to the party, but it's called toxic positivity. And I've come across that a lot. And I'm like, I'm so glad there's a name for this, because it totally bugs me. This idea that if you just be positive, everything's going to be fine. And that's not true. It's just not. I think it's always the best idea to be as positive as you can be. That's great. And I think that there is this, hi Marcy. There is this I think it helps. I think it can help. It can help. But I don't like when people have things go wrong and they think that I keep being positive and stuff keeps going wrong. It's not you. It's just life. And don't blame yourself. It kind of reminds me of like the old like faith healers. I think of a Little House on the Prairie episode where it's like, you're not well because you don't have enough faith that God can heal you. And it's like, no, sometimes we get sick. We live on an earth plane where we have a physical body, and sometimes this happens. And it's not so much, again, I've kind of come the other way, which is like, what can I take from this? It's a crappy thing. It's a thing that happened. It's a thing that's happening. What's the good I can pull out of it? How do I look at this differently so that I can get the most out of it that's beneficial, rather than just seeing the sucky part, which is obvious, you know? But I don't like the fact that people blame themselves when stuff is going wrong in their life, or they're ill, or they're going through a divorce, or they're going through stuff. And it's like, but I'm being positive. What's going wrong? And no, it's just, it happens. And I think positivity can help. I think being, manifesting and being positive is great. But don't blame yourself. Stuff happens, and stuff happens on the daily. And I think that for me, the thing that has worked is getting pregnant. Getting pregnant really works. It will take your mind off everything. Getting present. I'm not pregnant. Getting present and allowing things to be as they are, because things are just going to be as they are. Stuff's going to happen. Shit happens. So getting present and allowing things to be as they are, and finding that internal peace that's there. Where is it? Where is it? Where is that internal peace? Where can I find it? Help me find that, because I know that exists somewhere. I'm just not seeing it right now. And but I think that, I'm just sharing these two things because through these weird little pockets that I hit, like once every couple of months, I'll just have a couple days where I'm just like, what is going on? Why is this person saying this? Or why is this happening? Why did this person let me down? Stuff just happens, and life just happens. And it doesn't mean anyone's bad or you're bad or anything like that. It just means stuff happens. This is a couple things I've learned that have helped. And the more tools you have in your toolbox, the better. So I'm just sharing that. And yeah. And I think that's why these communities are really important, to help each other, to lift each other up. This is one of our tools in our toolbox, right? Jump on and hear some people say, oh my gosh, that happened to me too. Oh my gosh, I know what you're talking about. Just that validation can be so powerful when you are feeling low, or when you're feeling bad, or we can be pregnant with the present. Thank you, Deanne. That's what I meant. That's so funny. Okay. Yes, it's so true, and it gets lost. Gina, thank you. Eckhart Tolle says, "Oh, take a sip, take your and drink your mimosa." I'm saying it. Eckhart Tolle says that conscious awareness does not guarantee a happy life. It does give us a way to shift our perspective and hold presence when setbacks occur. That's it. And I have people, and when I was doing private mentoring, being like, I'm doing all this stuff, and I'm in the worst stage of my life, or I'm in this awful thing's happening, or I'm still sick after 6 months. And it's like, it's not you. It's not you. It's life. Life's going to happen, and you can't stave off bad things or illness or things. It is going to happen. We're in physical form. Can you stave off some of it? Of course you can. Carrying a high vibration, chances are you'll attract a lot of high vibration around you. That's a given. But you're still going to come across things and people that are of a low vibration, or a thing happens that you're, that happens. Or maybe this is put in place by you before you got here. And so just respect that, and don't blame yourself, is I guess the whole point. Pull out your tools in your toolbox, and just know that, there are things that can shift or help. But that the stuff that happens, or the stuff that continues to happen, it's not because you're not positive enough. Not necessarily. It's not necessarily because you're not manifesting hard enough. We had a whole thing about manifesting in the club that put a different spin on it. It made me think of manifesting differently. It may not be exactly what we think. And so, we're all still learning, right? We're all still learning. And that's why I'm grateful for this community and for you guys and for all the sharing that we do and the ability to have this way to kind of, work together and share with each other and learn from each other. So, yes, you have me all to yourself, David. We do. Okay. Let me go back up here. And I have a couple of questions that are political ones. So Sunny and Janice, I will be on this Thursday for Thursday Night Live. And so if you want to send in your questions, or you have to alter them a little bit because it sounds like stuff that's coming up tomorrow, but this is just kind of I need a break from from politics every week. I have found it's a lot. We're living in a really weird day and age where it's heavy stuff. When you read on it, it's different. It's a different kind of heavy. So I just need a break from it. And that's how this show was born. It was my guide saying, yeah, do something different. Maybe other people feel that way too. Okay. And Karen, looks like Karen has a question too. But yeah, just email me those questions and I'll send them on to Adam because he's the one who's in charge of that. Okay, so Gina, another Gina, another Gina thing. Same Gina, different question. Question, apart from meditation and prayer, what can we do to advance spirituality? Thank you, lots of love. Thank you, Gina. So I'm going to throw this over to my guides. And for those who don't know, I'm just scribbling here to kind of get into that kind of dreamlike kind of meditative state, not thinking, and just opening up in a different way. And this helps me to just get into that state while I'm sitting here with you guys. Okay, so that's spirituality, apart from meditation. Like, presence and gratitude is always good. They're also talking about reminding ourselves about reminding ourselves of I want to say like past positives or something like that. Okay, I feel like it's almost reminding ourselves of states of grace or points of almost like past spiritual experiences. It's kind of like bringing yourself there from like a secondary experience that you've had, or a memory of an experience that you've had. I feel like it pulls you back into that same kind of awe and wonder. And that's a really important state to be able to reach sometimes, because it kind of pulls you into not just a shift in consciousness, but a higher consciousness. It reminds you of what's possible. So they're bringing up because they're showing like writing down. So I feel like they're bringing up the importance of when things happen to you that are like, oh, wow, or, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened, or writing it down so that you can go back and feel that and remind yourself of that over and over again, because they're kind of like things like that don't happen every day. They're every so often something will happen that's like it's a wow, experience or moment, or Um, and to kind of remind yourself of that and give yourself the, uh, don't always rely on your memory. Or also they're saying like your state of mind may not allow you to go into positive places if you're feeling really, really low, or if you're having a difficult time. But reminding yourself of that, it pulls you into a higher consciousness. So what can we do to advance ourselves spiritually? Along with meditation, along with prayer, along with presence, um, uh, being able to remind ourselves that we've been there before. And that creates the opening for it to happen again and more often. It's kind of like, it is, to me, it is like building that trust and faith through things that have already happened. But reminding ourselves of that, because if we're in a place where nothing's happening, or we've hit a roadblock, or we're hitting a wall, reminding yourselves of those points where you have had a breakthrough, that it can happen again. And that will keep you kind of in the state that you need to be in to have that happen again. If that makes sense. Okay, really good question. Okay. Hi, Lori. Lori made it live today. Yay. Yay. Yeah, it's at a different time. We'll be back to 1:00 next week. This was just an unusual, weird thing. So, okay. That's okay, Gina. I'm just working my way down, and you've had the first two questions. That's okay. It's the Gina Halleck Show. But it's a good question. I will try not to ask too many. How will we know if we have ascended to the new earth? That's a great question. That's a great question. Hmm. So, I'm feeling what I felt before, which is that it's a state of being. It's a state of consciousness, right? And what they're saying is something I don't think they said, at least not to me before, that we won't reach like the new earth until everybody is there, right? We're all one. So if half of us there and half of us are not there, that means that one part of us has reached a state of consciousness that's putting us into the 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 framework of the new earth, but it won't be the new earth until we're all there. Okay, so it's a work in progress, and it's going to be a work in progress for a long time. However, we can reach a state so that we feel like we are in this state most of the time. They're saying though we're having glimpses of it, and to kind of recognize it when it's there. That's the I feel like it's like that's showing us it's possible. And once you've seen something is possible, it's more likely to happen, and happen more often, and then happen forever. You have to know it's there first. And so when you reach those points of, you feel like I'm existing right now in a different, in almost a different reality, because everything feels so good and so right. When you have those moments, take note of them, because it's telling you it's possible, and then try to have more of them. One I can think of, because I feel like I'm kind of pretty much spending a lot of place time in the 4D, which is, or it's called that. I don't know if that's what it is, but it's almost like you're shifting back and forth from 5D to 3, 5D to 3, and you're kind of in that 4. That's what that is. It's that glimpse of both worlds, and you're kind of existing in that. And so that's kind of where I feel like I spend most of my time now. The 3D, you're completely unaware. You're completely identified with your form. You think this form that's you and that's it. Well, most people in this chat are out of that complete. This is all there is framework. You're into it. You're having glimpses, and that's the 4D. Now you've entered the 4D, and then the 5D is that this world is not at all reality. It's just an illusion. And you've completely accepted that. You completely worked through that. And now you're in the 5D. And I think I understand now what they were saying is that while there are still people that are locked in the 3D, especially people we love, we're going to be pulled back. We're going to be pulled into that. And so we can't fully be there all the time forever until everyone's there. It's the first time I've heard that. And it may feel like, oh, what? But the 4D is a great place. It's a learning space. I love it because I still am intrigued by the 3D, and it bugs me too. And I love the glimpses of the 5D that I get. But one I can think of was I was in the airport coming back from England. It was in last October, and it completely happened randomly. And I had been standing in line literally all day. I'd been standing in line in different lines, a security line to get food, line to, and there was this big crowd of people, and we were going from, I realized, I have to take a shuttle to get to the next place. And I'm like, ugh. So I start to go there with this big crowd of people, and we start going up the escalator. And as I look up the escalator, something shifts, and I realize we're all here. We're all here together, right? In this second, we're all here together. And we're all having this experience in this moment together. And how miraculous and what a miracle that is. And how exciting and celebratory that is. It was just a feeling. And then I felt like I love all these people. And I'm so glad we're all here together and we're doing it. We're actually here together. It was this weird just realization of what's really going on. It lasted maybe a minute. And then I had kind of little glimpses through the day of that. And I kept going back to that thinking, what was that? It was such a it's almost as if you wake up from a dream for a minute. It's really weird. And it was brief, but I'm like, that's the 5D. That's the 5D. That's a glimpse of the 5D. Oh yeah, we're all here together. We're all doing this together. We planned this. And we're all here doing it. Isn't this amazing? Isn't this great? We're having this really weird experience all together on this weird planet in this weird circumstance. And I love everybody here because we're all here doing this together. We're all trying to do this. Isn't this amazing? So it's a glimpse, but I feel like I have these mini glimpses of the 5D, and it's like I'm there for just a second, and then boom, I'm sucked back into, I've got to take the shuttle, and it's stupid, but it's there, it's reachable, and but 15 years ago, I didn't even have a glimpse of any of that, none of that. So, it's that in itself is a miracle. And those are the kinds of things that they were talking about earlier, to write it down so that you can go back and remember, oh yeah, I did have that experience. That's right. And that was very real and very weird. And that shows me that there is something happening in my consciousness that's shifting and that's different. So I don't know if other people have had experiences like that, but they're very weird. And it is like you are awake in the matrix for just a moment. And it's weird. It's weird. It's weird, weird, weird. Anyway, but yeah, and I can't even remember the question now. Oh, about ascending to the new earth. Yeah, that's how you know. It's things like that where it is almost like all of a sudden you're just awake and you realize, oh yeah, oh yeah. Isn't this amazing? Because there's an excitement behind it as well. And just a full knowledge of like, oh, this is just a thing we're doing. Isn't this incredible? Isn't this weird? Okay. Tracy, can we visit other lifetimes in our dream? Every time I go to sleep, it's like I go into a different life, but with all the same people. Thank you. Interesting. So yeah, let me ask about that. Ask about Tracy. So weird. That was like a download. That was really weird because it was like all this information at once. Okay, let me parse this out. Basically, yes. And what you're experiencing is like a almost like a fragmented reality. It's kind of the way I want to put it. It's almost like something that is, it could exist, so it's kind of existing, or it's a, it was a thing that happened, and so it's kind of existing still. It is that idea of like everything's happening now, and we just kind of so that's how like readers can read and things like that. It's kind of that idea, and what they're saying is that these types of things happen a lot of times in the dream state, basically so it doesn't blow our mind, so it doesn't, and it also doesn't pull us out of what's most important, which is right here, right now. So so you can kind of visit and explore and see these other things or these other realities, but a lot of times it does happen in a dream state because then you can put it aside and just go live your life. You're not pulled into it in a way that's disruptive, if that makes sense. So it might make you like think, or make you think, what was that? Or that was really weird, or I keep having this happen, but it's in the dream state. So it's almost like it's acceptable that weird stuff happens in the dream state. So it's almost like by design that you're kind of remembering or visiting or going into these other whatever timelines or realities or memories or what could have been or past lifetime moments or whatever, but it's happening in a framework that you can that won't disrupt or make you think you're going crazy in this life. This is primary. You're here most of the time, so this is primary. Brian reminds me too of what they're reminding me actually of the way that guides are, that they don't scream at you, in your head all the time in a way that's in front. Because if it was, you would just think, I'm going crazy, I've got schizophrenia, something's wrong. They're in the background and it feels like you. And they've been with you from the beginning, so it's always felt like you. But it's your guides. And if you notice it and you can work with it, great. If you never do, that's okay. They're just there. And they're trying to help you navigate to go the easier, more joyful route always. That's always what they hope, is that we can learn stuff and go through stuff in the easiest way possible, because it's hard here. And even the easiest life is hard. So they're trying to help us to navigate this in the easiest way possible, the most joy possible, but still learn our stuff. And then also reminding us why we're here. So they're kind of trying to navigate. So like if we meet a key person, they're in the background saying, yes, work with him, go with him, trust him, whatever. But it kind of reminds me of that it's kind of in the background. It's not out front, right in front of our face, because we're having this experience and we need to have the experience in the way it's meant to be had. And it reminds me of this, that, you can have these other experiences in your dream state and this other stuff happening in your dream state, but this is where the focus, the most of your focus needs to be. So this is where it is. But that's cool. And I think I would say too, that what we've been talking about, what seems to be a theme, is writing stuff down. So that the stuff that is coming up, it may be trying to help you about here and now, and maybe reminding you of a past lifetime or a person's part in a past lifetime and why it makes sense to the way they are now or how you are now. So also writing those things down, I think, would be really, really good if you don't already, Tracy, and anybody else. Yeah. And Deanne's just backing this up. Yes, writing it down is an indelible confirmation. And I think our guides see it as a clear evidence that we got whatever the message was and understanding might be. That's a great point. Yeah, and Rob brings up a great point too. My personal solution is whiskey and the Muppet Show. Exactly. We all have our little go-tos here that can not necessarily check us out, because whiskey will check you out, and that's okay. I mean, it doesn't matter. But having those things that are kind of our go-to to kind of put us back into our best self. And those little things in life that make, I mean, mine are candy. Mine are going to a candy store, watching a show from the 70s, from my childhood, sitting with my pets, listening to my favorite songs, taking a walk, taking a drive, that you have your list of things that can pull you out and remind you that everything's fine. Everything's okay. Everything will be okay. As long as I have candy and the Brady Bunch, I'm good. Everything's good. But those little things that can just make you feel like, okay, I'm fine. Everything's going to be okay. And I just need to, keep going and give myself this is like my self-love and my indulgence for the moment, and let me get back on track here. And there's nothing wrong with that. And in fact, I think those things that's what they're there for, is to give us that little bit of whatever it is, just self-comfort, I don't know, those little things that just kind of make everything kind of the drama go down and the appreciation go up, right? Okay. Okay. Oh gosh, so great. Susan Morgan said, "What is it that we can learn on Earth that can't be learned on the other side?" Okay. So I will go to my guides and see what they say, but I've asked questions kind of like this before. So I'm going to just make sure that I'm not going to miss anything. Yeah. So they're saying it's the immersiveness. That's what it is. And also, okay, let's go back to the white room analogy, right? On the other side, we are freedom, joy, love. That's what we are. And we're all one. We're all very aware that we're all connected, right? If you're born in a white room with white walls and everything's white and you are white as well, including the color white, I like this, and that's all you know and all you've ever known, you cannot fully appreciate what white is until you've seen black, or you've seen red, or you've seen purple, and then you understand more and more and more what white is. So if we come from joy and freedom and love and connection, we can't fully appreciate that until we've seen what it is to be disconnected, to be alone, to see hate, to see cruelty, to see, to experience all of these things that are not that. So we come here to experience what we are not. And that's what we can't get on the other side, is that full understanding. And yes, we can see it. But it's the difference between seeing a roller coaster on television and being on the roller coaster. That's the difference. And it's also that immersiveness of, you come here forgetting everything, that veil or that wall of forgetfulness, where you forget where you're from, so you can have this immersive experience and forget it all. And I believe the reason that we're remembering in big groups of people are remembering now is because we've just come back so much that the veil wears off more quickly. And so those of us and anybody here, I would concur with Marie, who was on was it last week or the week before, that we all have been here a bunch of times, a ton of times. So it's like, oh yeah, I remember this, or oh yeah, this resonates with me because this is what is true, or this is what resonates with me because I think this is how it is. So there's a lot we can't learn on the other side. Now, you can make advancements on the other side. You can advance and learn more and learn more and learn more. But the earth is unique. It's very, very different, and it's learning a lot in a very short period of time, which is like nothing on the other side. And it's different, and they're reminding me of the fact that even on the other side, the souls that come to earth are there. They vibrate completely differently when they come back. They're different, and it's out of the norm, even in the spirit realm. And there are people that absolutely love coming to the earth, and their advancement is so big and fast because of the journeys to earth. However, it doesn't appeal to everybody. It just doesn't. Or people try it once or twice and they're like, that is not for me. I do not like that. Again, the roller coaster analogy, right? There are people that go on a roller coaster and think that was thrilling and scary and I loved it. I'm going to go on 10 more times. And other people ride a roller coaster one time and they're like, that was the worst experience I've ever had in my life. I'm never, ever going on a roller coaster again. It's like that. It's like that. And I think it is a great analogy, because there is that ups and downs and that scary and that, thrilling and all of that. And that there are those spirits that are, that it attracts and that like it and have fun in it and find it really, really an amazing learning tool and opportunity. And they stand out differently in the spirit realm than other spirits that have never been to earth. And it's not a bad or a good or a better or worse. It's not that. It's just different. They have a different, they're saying glow and kind of resonance about them. They're just different. And some people, Christian Sundberg told this story of his pre-birth memory where he was like, he came across one of these souls and says, what are you? Why are you this? And he says, I've been to earth. I've been to earth. And he's like, I want to do that. I want to do that. And his response is, that's what they all say. So there is something unique and different about this place, and not every soul wants to do it or is even interested in it. But we're the ones that we like the roller coaster. We keep coming back, and here we are, and we're back for ourselves to learn, but also to assist other people. There are probably people in our soul families that are here that are like, I'm going for my first time. Will you please be there? Sure, I will. I've been 3,000 times, so I'll be there for you. So yeah, it's not just for ourselves too. We're extremely selfless in a way that humanity doesn't seem to know. Even the kindest of people, there's a self-preservation that takes place on the earth with our ego. That's normal. But in the spirit realm, we are selfless beings. We really are again, we have this idea of oneness that's very different than what it is here. Here it's more of a concept than what we see in reality, but it's just our reality. Okay. And I like these, like, personal questions is fine to put up there. I'll try to spin it so that it's for everybody. But Stephanie Craig says, I have a task I've been trying to accomplish for months, and no matter my intentions, I can never quite get there. What do your guides say about being able to move forward and complete tasks? Okay. Okay. And so they're talking about how that there could be a million reasons why somebody can't complete a task. It can be it's not the right time, like it's timing. It can be that that maybe they were interested when they started, but they're not that interested anymore. It can be things are not quite put in place the way they need to be put in place. There's the right people haven't shown up, or the right people are going to come. There can be a lot of reasons why. They're pointing to when this happens, to stop. Because when you get into that kind of, I just want to get this done, or I just need to get this done, or what, that kind of thing, how do I say this? It pulls in, or it creates a different, I don't know, a different frequency, a different energy. Then I'm excited about this. I can't wait to get this done. This is going to be great. You're pulling in, or you're playing with a different energy at that point. And so the best thing to do is stop, get quiet for a little bit. There may be reasons why that you're not able to pinpoint, because you're just trying to stay in that flow of, I just need to get this done. And if something is happening, or something is not allowing you to, or something is in the way, or something else needs to happen first, or the timing's not quite right, or your enthusiasm is not quite right, or whatever, you're not going to hear it, because you're just in that mode of, I just need to get this done. This has happened a couple of times. One was when I was trying to do my cards, right? I knew I wanted to do cards. And for some reason, I don't read. I'm not like a card reader. I didn't know why it was important, but I was like, I know I really want to do this. So it must be something. So I just started doing it, and nothing felt right. And so I was like, well, it was like this. I want to get this done. I know I want to do this. I know I feel like I should, I feel like there's something to this that's important, but I keep not being able to do it. Everything I do is dumb. It's stupid. I don't like it. And so I just stopped, and I just told my guides, allow me to figure out what the best cards would be for the world right now, for what's going on right now. How do I serve through this thing that I want to do? And I just let it go. And I just trusted that something's going to come. It's going to come. And it did. It was power of intention. And it was so obvious. It was under my nose. I couldn't see, because I always talk about intention all the time, on here and in my life. And then I recently did that again, where I was hitting a wall. With some things on the channel, with some stuff I wanted to do. I was hitting a wall. And so I remembered, just stop, let it go, do other stuff, and tell your guides, I'm open to hearing what I need to hear to get this done. And so they're talking about when you're in this one flow of energy, if I just need to do this, I just need to do this, I just need to do this, it's hard to hear. it's hard to hear other stuff. So stop, leave it for a second. Okay. You keep trying to do it and it's not happening. There's a reason why. And this is not just for you, Stephanie, this is for everybody. When you hit that wall, just stop. It's okay. It's okay just to put it down, put down the pencil for a minute, put down the stuff for a minute, and just let your guides speak to you, or let your higher self speak to you, or let God speak to you, or whatever that higher, wiser being or vibration is, let it speak to you. You can't do it while you're on the treadmill. You can't, it's not going to come. So this tells me, this wall that you keep hitting, or this thing you can't push through, tells me just stop, get quiet, allow it to come, and do other stuff. Let it go. It will come to you. It will come to you. The perfect way to complete it, or what has been missing, or what you needed to learn, or it will come to you. And then it will be effortless. It will just happen. Sometimes you can push through something and just get it done, but usually it'll end up being not quite what you thought, or it was just something that you needed to do to get it out of your system. But this seems a little bit different to me, Stephanie, and it reminds me of that mode where it's like, I cannot do this. What is the problem? Just stop and try to listen, and give it time. It may not come to you today or this week or this month, but give it time. It will come to you, and then it will be effortless. It will just seem like it does it itself in a way, because you're in a completely different mode than you were. Okay. So that's what I would say from my own experience. And then my guides kind of are reminding of this, and there could be lots of reasons why it's not going yet, but it can't come to you until you just kind of let go and just listen. Well, Roxanne, can you tell me what emotional freedom technique is? Can you tell me about that? And then I can tell you what I think of it. Yes, Mary Finniff, exactly. I often get this feeling on the highway. We're all here right now for a reason. Yeah, it's that lifting of the veil for just a moment. Like I said, it's almost like you're awake in the matrix for just a moment. It's really cool. And it is glimpses of awakening. That's what it is. It's you're awake for just a second, for just a moment. Okay, seeing it. Oh, EFT tapping on meridian points like acupuncture. I used it to stop smoking years ago. EFT. I'll ask them about it because I don't know anything about it. And ask my guys about it because I don't know anything about it. So they're talking about the natural intelligence, I guess, of the body and the brain. There are so many things that are internal that are not used yet, not realized yet. We're starting, and are things like, well, and I've been told about like light and sound, that that's kind of the future of curing everything, or curing a lot of things, is light and sound. And that it's almost like the assisting the body to do what it can do, assisting the brain to do what it can do. And that's what they're pointing to, is that this is, it's like that. It's like, something that can be done to show the body how to fix itself, showing the brain how to fix itself. So it's a I don't know, technique, or a thing that allows the body to do what it does, or do what's possible. So that's what I got. Okay, so that's kind of what it's doing, and there'll be more stuff like that in the future. It's not invasive, doesn't hurt us, but it's allowing us, our bodies and brains, to do what it does, what they can do with what they're capable of. Um, okay, so I have time for one more. Mhm. Sorry, guys, I'm just looking for the A question. Um, I saw one about anger. I'm sorry, I can't find the question again, but it was about, and I felt like that one I need to answer that. But it was like a question about why, or how can we deal with people um, that make us angry, that hurt us or betray us, things like that, that do things to us that are not okay. How do we handle anger um, towards the person? Feeling angry with ourselves, for trusting somebody that does us wrong. Um, okay, so one second. So they're showing it as though like two paths crossing. It's almost like it feels personal because it happened to you, but understand that this person is just in this trajectory, and you happen to cross paths with them. So, the, and we'll take an extreme example, right? So somebody that you know, is just a mean person, always mean to people, right? You come across them and you think, well, most people that I meet are very nice. And then they do a mean thing and they're mean to you. That's who they are. That's the trajectory they're on, or that's the way that they're flowing right now. And you just happen to flow across them. And it could be you flow across each other for 10 years, but when you find out who they are, or what they're about, that doesn't have anything to do with you. That's who they are, and that's what they're about. The only difference is now you know. Now I know this. I didn't know this before. And so, and then the decisions come, right? Because it hurts, and it feels you feel, stupid, like you did. Why didn't you see it? Why didn't you know? Um, Oh gosh, I just had something like this happen, so this feels very familiar. Um, but we're all kind of, we're all on a path, and we're constantly crossing each other's paths. So how should you deal with it? Just like that. Now you know. Now you know this is how this person conducts themselves. This is how they are, or at least this is how they were to you. And then they're in now. Now there's a choice involved, right? You can whatever, continue to try to salvage this, or you can let it go and realize we're on two different trajectories. They're going this way and I'm going this way. And we just crossed for a minute. I think sometimes it can be really hard to just realize that they aren't what you thought, or they disappointed you. And it can be really hard. It can be a really hard realization. That disappointment, my husband is on this thing where he's like, I don't expect anything of anyone anymore. And I just appreciate whatever time we have, or whatever they can give me, or whatever. And I'm trying to get there. I really am. I'm trying to get there. But that's where he is. And so his thing is, don't expect anything from anyone. I find that hard, because I think that once you feel like you know somebody, you expect certain things. But I think he's right. I think it is kind of like that's, you're only in charge of you. You only have control over you and your reactions and how you think and what and sometimes this stuff has to kind of wear off on its own. It can hurt for a while. And that's where it comes into where I was talking about before, about this going into the present, trying not to think and just being present and realizing, okay, everything's fine. I'm here having this experience, and I'm just here. Right. And this anger, this upset, this betrayal, this whatever story I'm telling myself is in my head. And so now is where I ask, please help me to see this differently. Please help me to see this differently. So recently, I can't be specific about this because I'm not going to badmouth anybody, but there was a disappointment that I suffered. And the realization that I came to is, well, I won't do that to other people because now I know what this feels like. So that was the different way of looking at it, rather than how dare they? Oh, I feel so upset and blah, blah, blah. It was, okay, I learned now what it is like to be on the other side of this. So I will never do this to someone. I'll never make anyone feel like this, because now I know what it feels like. So that helped me to flip it into this is a learning experience. And I can use it going forward. I think that's the other thing too, is don't waste the experience. Don't let it just be a negative that happened to you. Flip it around and use it so that you can turn it into something positive or useful in your life going forward. And again, like when my guides were like, it's like you just cross paths in a way it's not even your business. It just crossed your path, and you're like, okay, that was weird. I don't like that. And I'm gonna let that go. I'm gonna let that person go. They're clearly going in a different direction. We just crossed, and it hurt, So they're doing them, and I'm doing me, and so I don't have to be wrapped up in that, and give it time too. I think time is, it's a really useful thing to come to different realizations, to work through things, to let things go. But like I say, I keep hitting these little mini, not crises, but little mini discomforts. and I kind of have to work through them. And those two things, the getting present, kind of coming out of my head, because that's where everything is, right? You're replaying stuff in your head, and then asking, how do I use this? How do I make this a positive? Help me to see this differently so that I can do that. And I'm not just wallowing in this anger and resentment and why am I so stupid? And why did I trust this person? And blah, blah, blah. So, okay. All right, guys. Yeah, anger can be very tricky, right? It can be very tricky. And you're right. It's one of those things that enters you, and it's a good thing too to physically let it go as well. Hit some things, scream into a pillow. I like to yell, sing in my car. It's always a good one. So, letting that energy kind of flow out of you as well, because it gets stuck and you don't want it to erupt on somebody else who's not, that pain body, right? That unexpressed emotion. You don't want it to erupt on somebody who doesn't deserve it. So just let it out in some way, shape, or form. You're in a physical body, and this is what you need to do. Get angry and cry. Take a rage nap. Yeah, all of those things work to some degree. So yeah. And Marcy, Marcy's so sweet. Marcy has such a great, talk about positive people, right? Oh gosh. Okay. All right, everybody. And take care. And I hope you enjoyed this therapy session we all had together. I'm sorry it was late. I will make sure all my ducks are in a row much earlier. So if I have issues, I can work them out. But I'll see everybody next week. We have a guest next week, so we'll be talking to a guest, but I hope I really enjoy these sessions we have together. I learn so much. I learn every time we're on all together. You guys are amazing. Thank you for taking care of each other. Thank you for being here for me. I am here for you, and I will see everybody next week. I'll see everybody on Thursday if you want to do Thursday Night Live. We'll be on this Thursday. We've got things to celebrate, things we're still, white knuckling over. So we'll talk about it then. All right. Okay. Take care, everyone.